heard from physicians, and most importantly, you've heard from the teens themselves, but you haven't yet heard from the parents. So Lori Skrobola will share the parent perspective from Westchester.
Good afternoon, I'm Lori Skrobola, and I presently live in Westchester. I'm here as a concerned citizen and volunteer for Parents Against Vaping, E-Cigarettes, or PAVE. My mother and sister began smoking menthol cigarettes as teenagers and both became addicted for life. My mother ultimately died from lung cancer at age 65, even though the oncologist at Johns Hopkins told her she wasn't a candidate for surgery because her lungs were far too damaged to withstand anesthesia. She continued to smoke because she had to smoke. And that was up until a week before she passed. My sister is following suit. My brother, who is a non-smoker, has never had a cigarette in his hand, has bladder cancer, which is caused by his exposure for 18 years to secondhand smoke. I showed up today because I'm so afraid for our children, and I'm angry and demand change because the status quo is untenable. Children are falling prey to the tobacco industry's manipulative tactics, just as my parents and older sisters' generations did. Our kids are being duped into believing the flavors they inhale won't harm them, just like the generations before us. But adults know better. We've seen what happened to our older family members. Kids don't have the brain development to be able to see what's in store for them months down the road, let alone years down the road into their futures. We're the adults in the room. It's our job to make the connection for them and to protect them. Unsurprisingly, the opposition is working overtime to stop this flavored tobacco ban. And as you may know, they have armies of people lobbying on their behalf. I'm told they're in these very offices every single day. So we're outnumbered and we're outspent, but we have voices. And we will make sure we're heard. As I tell my sons, we won't give up. So I showed up today, we all showed up today, and importantly, the kids showed up today. I respectfully ask the legislators, who are the ones who actually can and will make the difference, to show up. Please show up for the kids. Legislators, I hear that you have diverse constituencies. I get that. But is there any one group that's singularly more important than our children? I don't think so. So I ask for three things. One, first, end the sale of all flavored tobacco products, including menthol cigarettes. Two, hold stores responsible for selling flavored e-cigarettes to kids and make it hurt when they're so bold to put their profits before our children. And let's be clear, they're selling flavored everything to kids under 21. I've also seen these illegal products firsthand while volunteering on PAVE's Poison Committee. That's parents opposed to the illegal sale of nicotine. Illegal flavors are everywhere and readily available to kids. When they're not out in the open in a store, they're either under the counter and all one has to do is ask. They're in back rooms too. I went into a smoke shop in northern Westchester, asked for a flavored product, and was escorted to a back room with ceiling to floor shelves filled with illegal products. There's no respect for the rule of law, and there is a severe lack of enforcement. And don't just believe me, ask the children because they will tell you. Lastly, I ask you to increase the cigarette tax by $1 per pack for the reasons Dr. Shaw and his son so eloquently stated. And legislators, please stand on the side of our kids and marginalized communities by supporting the aggressive action we need to tell Big Tobacco that New York will no longer allow it to prey and addict our children to its deadly products. The proposals will save lives. Smoking is the #1 cause of preventable death in New York, killing 28,200 people in our state every single year. If nothing else is done, 280,000 kids alive today will ultimately die from a tobacco-related illness. So let's just take that in, 280,000 children. That's completely unacceptable. And that number doesn't factor in unquantifiable things that tobacco kills, like kids' motivation and ambition, their ability to play a sport or a musical instrument, their education and college potential, Tobacco kills kids' brain development, their futures, and their longevity. So please show up for our kids. We have to vote to save them by ending the sale of all flavored tobacco products. Thank you.